My life has been spent in pursuit of the awareness that there is a whole universe of discovery within each person's higher awareness, just waiting to be explored. Earlier in life, when I was an employee, I would often sit at my desk and drift away mentally into more interesting plans of awareness. Later, as a business owner, I was able to find quality time for some really deep reflection. I used to rise bright and early for a fascinating morning of study and meditation, and then roll into office, ready to begin work at the crack of noon. Today, when people ask me about how to find the meaning in their lives, the first thing I do is point out the doorway to their own personal world of inner knowledge. The doorway is within your heart, and it leads from the world of physical tumult into spiritual realms of inner peace and revelation. You have only to detach from the stress and turmoil of daily living to enter your own heart consciousness. Feel the love there which patiently awaits you, and move through the doorway into a higher awareness. It is important for you to acknowledge this, because one of the ways in which you've been stifled most often in your life experience is in your self-expression. You were told to be quiet when you went to services for your religion. You were told to sit still and be quiet at school. You are not encouraged in many occupations to tell the higher-ups what you think or how you believe the direction of the company should be headed. But now here, you are with all of this freedom and all of these choices, and many of you still feel stifled in your self-expression. But it is good for you to recognize that, so you know now what your next challenge is. Your next challenge is to overcome that so that you can share more of yourself with the world. Many of you have something to say, something that will help others when they hear it or read it, and you know that about yourselves. You also know the power of being in the flow of energy, and you are in the flow when you are in that self-expression mode. We get to know so many of you when you come to visit us is the astral plan, and we see the beauty of what it is that you have to share. And we want you to know that your fellow humans will feel that way as well. Of course, not all of them will, but enough of them will to encourage you to continue to express yourselves in whatever ways you choose to at this time. Empower yourselves by allowing yourselves to be heard, to be seen, to be experienced by others, and notice how your lives take off exponentially when you do. As the vibrating stargate portals of crystalline consciousness and light, we create our new earth realities in each now moment through our ability to raise our vibration. Expand our consciousness and rewrite the records through soul alignment and through the memory and attainment of oneness interdimensionally as master co-creators of our universe. The first thing to trust is that the part of you that hears the thoughts coming from me and recognizes their truth for you in this moment is your inner guidance. The process of keeping this always one step removed from you is what keeps you feeling stuck. I'm trying to work myself out of a job here. I'm telling you what you know to be true, what you are projecting that truth out upon me, rather than accepting it as your own. It may be time to stop distrusting your inner knowing and to be willing to hear it more and more clearly. Part of the confusion is that your ego mind does not want to hear the fullness of what Spirit has to say. If you project that voice outside of yourself, you can fight with it and not take full responsibility for what it is communicating. Instead of directly following your guidance, you can give yourself the luxury of being in resistance for some period of time. When you accept the guidance now as your own, or at least ask Spirit to help you in doing that, you can move right into and through your fear. It is always easier than you feared it would be, because it was never a real fear of a real happening. All that is required is for you to face it. Your guidance will encourage you to do that. I am always willing to play the role of the bad guy by telling you what you don't want to hear. Eventually, you have to become your own bad guy. Everything accelerates when you take responsibility for your guidance. When you acknowledge the voice as your own and are willing to pay attention to it, it will probably never be quiet. It will keep on you until you fully surrender to it. You can let yourselves determine your level of readiness for putting yourselves out there to the world. And you can decide which modality you are ready for and which ones you need a bit more time to warm up to. But you can express yourselves and have your perspective out there in the world today for everyone who is in alignment with it to experience, and that is empowerment. You have empowered yourselves enough to give yourselves all of these modalities, all of these ways to share your perspectives with the rest of humanity. But you don't have to if you don't want to. And you get to choose how you do it and when you do it. Again, you've empowered yourselves. You don't have a publisher telling you that you must turn in your manuscript by a certain date if you are self-publishing. You don't have an executive producer or a network telling you that you have to make your show by a certain deadline so that it can air by a certain time. You can't decide that, and you get to publish the version of your video that you like the best, and that too is empowerment. And so, you have been empowering yourselves in a variety of ways, and you have been giving yourselves more choices because you have raised your level of consciousness to this point, where those choices do now exist.